Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's yin practice. As far as props for today, I would suggest having a couple of hard blocks, and you can place them near the top of the mat, and then maybe one of the soft blocks or a blanket or something like that as well. And we'll actually get started on the belly today, and you can have your blocks nearby. We'll set them up underneath the shoulders, and just to come into it slowly, see how it goes for you. So coming to lie down and then using the blocks wherever feels the most comfortable. And you're, of course, welcome to skip them as well. And then the forehead might need something here too. So if you have your soft block nearby, you can bring that down. And see what it feels like to have your arms by your sides, maybe palms facing the floor. And see if you need a little help settling in here. Maybe give the hips a rock side to side. And see what the feet want to be doing as well. As you find stillness in the shape, you might notice that the mind starts to wander. When that happens, just gently guiding the attention back to your expression of the body and back to your breath. Here, when you feel ready to move again, you can bring the hands a little closer to the shoulders, maybe move those props out of the way, and plant the hands to the floor. Press up to a tabletop position. Now you can stack the hips roughly on top of the knees. We'll still use the soft block, so you might even bring that a little bit closer. And then start to walk the hands forward, keeping the hips nice and high for puppy dog pose. So starting to dip the chest, the chin, the nose towards the floor. And then from here, see where you need a little extra support. So one option would be to slide your block, your soft block, underneath the chest. You can rest the forehead down to it if that feels better. Also, the option to bring your elbows onto your prop as well. Maybe bring the palms of the hands together, and then you might bend the elbows to reach the fingers towards the ceiling, or maybe thumbs towards the back of the neck. And keeping the hips nice and high here. You might even walk the elbows a little closer, a little further forward, so see what feels like a nice stretch for the shoulders. And settle into it. See how you like to exit the pose. You might start by re-extending the arms if they're bent, walking hands a little closer to the body to lift yourself up. And you can slide your soft block out of the way and then lower all the way down to the belly once again. Awesome. And then once you make your way down, just to make sure you have clearance on both sides. And from your belly, you can cactus the arms. And then bring the left fingertips to the floor. Start to press the left hand down as you open the chest towards the left, and you might stack the left leg on top of the right. Now see what this feels like for the shoulder. You might adjust where the hand is relative to the shoulder to give you a little more space. And you can stay exactly here. If the head is hovering uncomfortably, then you have your block nearby. You can bring it underneath. Options for the legs, you can keep them stacked. You can step the left foot behind or in front of the right leg, and you could also float the leg behind you. If everything is secure through the neck, through that right shoulder especially, you could also think about de-weighting the left hand, maybe to float that behind you or for a half bind. Mindful, it's a pain-free expression through the chest, through the shoulder, and breathe into whatever you're feeling. And think about bringing the left hand to the floor if it's somewhere else. And you can restack the legs. And then slowly turn the chest back down towards the floor. And we'll set up for the second side straight away. So start by cactusing the arms. And then right fingertips to the floor. Start to turn the chest open towards the right. And again, you might play around with where that left hand is now. Maybe some support for the head. The same options are there if you want to step the right foot behind the left or float it somehow. And likewise, if everything feels secure through the left side, you might think about de-weighting that right arm behind you. Think about bringing the right hand to the floor, restacking the legs, and then slowly roll the chest, the belly back down. For a release for that, it might feel nice to bring the hands off to the sides. And then with an inhale breath, lift the heart space up just a little. As you exhale, twist towards the left, dip the right shoulder down. And then inhale center. And second side. One more for each. Awesome. And coming back to center as you're ready, bring the hands underneath the shoulders and press up to a tabletop position. And from your tabletop, we'll take the hips down towards the heels and then set up like you would for child's pose. So if you want to take the knees a little wider apart or a little closer, then go for it. And then from here, we'll thread the left arm underneath the right. So having a little more space between the knees might be helpful for this. So you can press down through that right hand and then slide the left arm underneath and take it as far as you can go, lowering the left shoulder down the left side of the head. And again, having a prop nearby for the head might be useful for this. And see what it feels like to bring the right palm on top of the left, maybe interlacing the fingers. And breathe into whatever your stretch you're feeling through the shoulders. If the hands are interlaced, you can bring the right hand back down to the floor and just gently release back to center. We'll set up for the second side, so you can bring the left hand down now and start to reach the right arm through underneath, settling the right shoulder, the right side of the head. And the same option to bring the left hand on top of the right now to interlace the fingers. Let the body be heavy in this shape. Gently releasing the left hand back down and gently unraveling yourself to center. And see what feels good here. You can come up to a tabletop position, perhaps a couple rounds of cat-cow, perhaps a little snaking of the spine side to side. Take a few breaths wherever you need to be. Awesome. And then when you're ready, moving props off to one side, you can step one foot forward and then the other. And keep a generous bend to the knees, and we'll come to a dangling pose, so similar to a forward fold. As much softness through the knees as you need. You can keep the chest and the belly on the thighs the whole time. And one more stretch for the shoulders, so you can bring the hands up to the hips, and you can keep them there. Maybe bring the elbows a little closer together. If it feels okay to interlace the fingers, then go for it. Choose the awkward clasp this time. Elbows can stay bent, or if you like to start to extend the arms up, then go for it. Fist towards the ceiling. Head can hang heavy. To settle in, if you're ready for stillness, then go for it. If you benefit from a little movement here first, then go for that. Mindful if there's any pinching anywhere in the body. Mindful for the arms, if they start to go kind of numb, then you can bring them down at any point. Gently release the hands back down. And from here, you can brace the hands to the floor, heel toe the feet about as wide as the mat, point the toes out to an angle, and then start to sink the hips towards the heels. And straight away, you might look around and find a couple of your hard blocks. Maybe you're making yourself a little bit of a seat here. Make sure the low body feels adequately supported, and then take a moment to lengthen the spine up. One last stretch from here. Make sure it feels okay for your body, but you might think about interlacing the hands behind the skull, and without pulling on the head, just let the weight of the arms start to round your upper back into your neck. And see where this takes you, mindful of the low back, but focusing mostly on the upper spine. If the forearms are connecting to the knees, you could help brace a little bit with the knees as well, but also using whatever support you're sitting on to take the pressure out from the hips. if the hands are interlaced, you can release them first and then slowly start to unravel the spine once again. If you're sitting on a block, you can remove it so that you can bring your bum down to the floor. Now it might feel nice to windshield wiper the knees a little side to side to release the legs. It might feel nice to puff up the chest a little bit, maybe to point the chin towards the ceiling to release the throat and the chest. And then from here, as you're ready, we'll lower all the way down onto the back. And once you make your way down onto your back, you can extend the arms up overhead. And we'll keep the pelvis steady, we'll keep the feet steady, but take both hands up towards the top right corner of the mat. And if for any reason doing this with extended arms doesn't work, check to see if bending the elbows works better. And finding a stretch through from the lower ribs on the left side all the way up to that left elbow. And think about slowly bringing the head, the arms back to midline, and then over to the opposite side. And this side may feel a little different, so again, check in, arms extended or elbows bent. Finding that stretch from the lower right ribs all the way up to the right elbow. And slowly bringing everything back to center, releasing the arms down. And take a moment to check in here, see if your body's asking for any final stretch or movement. You can set that up. Otherwise, as you feel ready to settle yourself in, and coming to find your Savasana shape, adding any props that you need, making any modifications to your space, music, temperature, lighting. And when you're ready, come to settle in, find your stillness. knees. Start to deepen the breath once again. Invite some small movements to the body, moving the wrists and the ankles, giving the head a rock side to side. Maybe a full body stretch. Reach the arms, reach the feet, wiggle the hips. And then come to roll down onto either side, wherever you have the most space. And taking a couple breaths to pause, to check in. And then making your way up to any comfortable seated position, using any of your props for support. And settling the hips, lengthening the spine, softening anything you don't need here. And connecting the hands at the heart, bowing the chin to the chest. And thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for Yin practice. And again, my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and have a great evening.